In today's video, we will be creating some daily page layouts. I'll be walking you through creating two different versions, and then we'll be jazzing things up a bit with one of those versions for our doggy theme. I will be creating spreads today. However, keep in mind that you can create single page daily layouts as well. Because there's so many more days than there are weeks in the year, doing the single pages can help you save space in a planner. If you're creating a digital planner, this isn't going to matter as much. Same with printable for the most part. And if you're creating a printed planner, you can consider making 6-month planner instead of a 12-month planner if you're choosing to do daily pages. But no matter what you're doing, you can take different elements from the spreads I'll show you today, and you can create whatever is going to work best for you and your planner. So let's go ahead and jump into the computer and get this thing started. So we're in here in the planner. We are going to come over to our parent pages and create a new parent page spread by clicking the plus. And then we are going to right click and parent options to rename it. And we are going to say daily 1, because I will be showing you two versions. Let's hit W so that we can see our lines. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do over here on the left page is we are going to create a table 34 by 1. So we're going to come to table, create table, and we are going to do 34 rows by 1 column, and click OK. So we're going to fill the margin vertically, and we are going to do roughly 3.1 inches wide, 3 inches, 3.1 inches, something along those lines. All right, so now that we have our table, we have to add our numbers in. So for this one, I'm just gonna do numbers and no AM, PM. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what it is anyway. So we will be creating 6 to 9. So I want to make these, actually, let's go ahead and select this table, and I want to make this 12 point adorn Roman. Right click, cell options, text, and we want to make sure to justify center. Now we're ready to go ahead and type our numbers in. I am just going to be typing the numbers only, so let's go ahead, and I'm doing them every other row because the other rows are representing 30-minute increments. All right, so let's go ahead. We want to do 6 to 9. We're going to leave it at 9:30. So we are going to get rid of these last 2 rows. I don't need those. So let's highlight these. Let's right click. Let's delete rows. This way we can resize our table here to fit what we need. So I am going to click our table. We are going to hold shift while we move up and down so that we can resize the whole thing evenly. Where are we at? That's pretty close. Okay, so we're gonna leave that be as is. Normally I'm setting it exactly 7 millimeters, but for this time I just wanted to show you if you have a certain amount of numbers you want in there, you can do it accordingly. You can also see if you want to highlight a row, you can look over here and it will show you the height. So it's pretty close to 7 millimeters anyway. I think 7 is 2.7. So it's pretty close. Now we have all that there. Next, I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and we can create the dotted lines to separate the 30-minute marks. So let's go ahead and, whoopsie, let's highlight the whole table. And now we're going to right click. We're going to come to table options and we're going to say alternating row strokes. And now here we're going to change this to every other row. We're going to make the first one 1.5 point. So that's not, you have to type that one in. So 1.5 point. We are going to make this dotted and we are going to make it our 70% black. And then we are going to go ahead over here and we are going to make this our half point. Solid row, 70% black. And you can see on the bottom, If you want to make sure, as long as preview is checked here, you can see what it looks like if you want to make sure you have the dots in the right area, which we do. And so we're going to go ahead and click OK. So now we have 6, 6:30, 7, 7:30. And our hourly section is done. The only other thing I might want to do is I don't like how dark this border around the entire table is. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to make sure just the outside lines are selected. Oops. And I'm going to change this to my half point and my 70% black so it's not so stark. And there we go. Everything looks a lot better. Okay, good to go. All right, now we are going to start filling some sections in here. Let's create a box with our rectangle tool. And we are going to make this box 3 wide by 1.5 high. I'm going to hit OK here. Let's go ahead. Let's move this over a bit. We might want to make it, we can make it a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. We don't need such a big gap there. Okay, and I am going to use my object styles that was created in episode 8 of the series called boxes to round my corners here. I am aware that the corners of this table are not rounded, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. So we're going to leave that as is. Now what we want to do is we want to create another table. We want to make this a priorities box. So I want, typically you would see 3 for priorities. So I'm going to make a table, create table. We are going to make this, we are actually going to just make it 2 rows because we just need 3 lines. So let's make it 2 rows and 1 column. And just kind of draw that in here. And I'm going to select this and we are going to use our cell styles for lines. And there we have our 3 lines. It's too big, obviously. We want the 3 lines, but we have a big or tiny here space there. So we need to resize this. So let's go ahead and select the table. And we are going to resize it, but you're going to hold shift and it will resize the table evenly. Let's go with that, see how that goes. I also think I can have that a little bit wider. Let's have this table a little bit wider. So what do we think? I think that's fine. I'm fine with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both. And then I'm going to select the outside box again to make it the key object. And I am going to center it horizontally. And that looks good. So now what I want to do is I want to make a text box up top that says priorities. So I'm going to make it the same width here. I'm going to say priority. Oh, we're going to say top priorities. Let's say top priorities. Priorities. And we are going to use our paragraph style called section headers that we created in a previous episode. And there we go. We have our top priorities here. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new box for our next section. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to copy this all the way to the bottom. Let's move this up a little bit because it's kind of low. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this whole section here all the way to the bottom. So hold Alt and Shift and click and drag to the bottom. And I'm going to make this one move to tomorrow. This is move to tomorrow. And instead of having lines, I'm gonna, let's leave it lines. We can leave it lines. That's fine. And now in the middle here, what I'm gonna do is create a to-do. So we can copy and paste this if you want. That's probably the easiest thing to do. So let's, again, drag over both of these and hold Option and Shift and click and drag down. And then we can get rid of the lines. We're not going to need those. And we can resize this box to exactly where we want it to be. And I think that looks pretty good. Maybe we might want to bring this up just a little bit so it's evenly spaced. Okay, that looks good. Now I want to add some circles in here, some like checkbox circles. So let's go ahead and let's come over to the ellipse tool. If you're not seeing it, come to the rectangle tool, click and hold until you see this box pop up, and then we'll use the ellipse tool. Then you can drag out, hold shift to keep it a perfect circle, 0.25. I think that's good. I think that's good. Let's make this a 0.5 font and use our 70% black so it matches everything else. And let's go ahead, whoops, zoom in here because it's kind of hard to grab these little circles. So easiest if you can grab the dot on the top. So let's go ahead and let's copy and paste this down. So I'm going to hold Option, hold Shift, click and drag down. That could work. And now let's duplicate. I don't know how many I'm going to need, so let's just keep duplicating. Okay, I think that's good. So just let's group those together. We're going to go ahead and drag a box over everything and then hold Shift to deselect this back box. Now only our circles are selected, so we're going to Command G or Control G to group them. Once they're grouped, we can reselect by holding Shift and selecting the back box to select that again along with the circles. Now, without holding Shift, click it again to make it the key selection object, the key object. And now we're going to center these vertically in that box. All right, and there we go. We have our first section of our daily. Honestly, I mean, this is what I mean by you could just have this for your daily page. You may want to, instead of having a move tomorrow, maybe shift this down, put a calendar up there or something that says what the day is. And a calendar, something along those lines. If you would like to do that, we're going to do that on this other page, but this is just going to show you different things that you can do, and you can, move things around as you need, as you want. So moving to the right side, we are going to make yet another box. So come over here to the rectangle tool. We are going to make this box 3 wide by 3.25 high. We are going to come down to our object styles and use our boxes style. We will, let's see what we're going to do here. Let's move that up. I want to create a meal plan here. Where are my PNGs? I have this in another planner. PNGs I drew them in Illustrator. I'm not going to show you how to do that right now. So you can Google and find some PNGs. You can draw some droplet PNGs if you want to, or you can use whatever other kinds of PNGs you want. But I'm going to use these drops for water, and I'm just going to copy them from this one and bring it over here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste that in this box. Let's see. Should we make this box? You can make this box a little bit wider. That way it fits a little better. So now I'm going to select both of these, and then I'm going to again select the outside box to make it the key object, and then I'm going to center horizontally so that those are centered there. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create a table here for meal plan. I'm going to have to drag this down actually because we need a room for a title. So let's create a table. We want the table to be 4 rows. So come up here, table, create table, 4 rows, and we could just do 1 column. We really don't need more than 1 column. So we're gonna draw this basically the size of the rest of this box here. Again, I keep it from the edge just because that's my preference, but we are also going to go ahead and apply. So select the entire thing, and we are going to apply our cell styles that were created before for the lines. And I am going to get rid of this top line as well. So with this top cell selected only, and then the top line selected only, get rid of this bottom one, I am going to say 0 point. So that's leaving us with this. Bring it up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some text here. I am actually going to, let's highlight this again. Let's right click, cell options, text, so that we can align this with centered. Let's align it centered. Okay. And now I want to say breakfast. I want to say lunch, dinner, and snack. These could stand to be a little bit bigger. Let's use our Adorn Roman. That's what we've been using, but I think make this font a little bit bigger. And I think that that's fine, and we already have our 70% black, so we're good to go there. All right, so now we have a section to write down our meal plan and to track our water intake. Now we need a calendar over here. So we are going to make a calendar using a table, create table. We need it to be 7 by 7. And I am just going to basically fill this section in here. Might be kind of a big calendar. Okay, so now we need to select the entire table, and then we need to get rid of all of our lines. We don't want any of these strokes. So with all of our lines selected, let's say 0. And my middle one wasn't selected. So finicky. So we'll say 0. Okay, so now we have no lines. We are going to select our top row, right click, cell options, text. We want this to be centered. We can get rid of our insets just to make sure we don't have any issues and say okay. And then we want to make sure we are centered here. And we want to make sure we are using our paragraph style for our mini calendar headers if you have that created. If not, just pick font and start with a 12 point and we will see how that goes. So now we are going to say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And these actually look a little bit small, so I actually might make these a little bit bigger. How about 16? That works. Okay, so now we're going to select the rest of this and we are going to do the same cell options, text, center. We're going to center paragraph and we are going to come to our paragraph styles and we are going to choose our mini calendar dates. Now these are definitely going to be too small, but let's test it out and see how it goes first. And then we can always change. We can always change the size later. So let's type in our numbers here. All right, well, we can make them a little bit bigger. I'm going to just make them a little bit bigger. Maybe we'll make those 12. That's fine. 12, 13. So, but what I wanted to show you here, I mean, let's underline this. So we're going to highlight that. We're going to select only the bottom line. And let's make that like a 3 point. Let's see how that looks. We'll do it with the blue. Okay, that looks good. But what I want to show you here is to fill this. So let's say this day is the first, and then the next day is the second. You would have the second filled. So whatever day it is, you would have the cell filled. So what we could do here is we're going to, with this selected, we're going to come to fill. We're going to choose the blue. Now, the number might be kind of hard to see, especially if we were doing, say, the purple. So what we can also do is change the text to white. So we can click text, white, and now we have the cell selected with the text white, so you know which day it is. And now on the bottom, I'm just going to do a big box to fill it in and leave this as an opportunity for people to do whatever they want to do with. Let's go to object styles and say box. And this way the customer can, or the planner user can turn this into whatever they want to turn it into. They could put pictures in there, they can draw something, they can do whatever it is that their heart desires. Sometimes it's nice to have an open space to do what you want with. All right, and the only thing we're missing is we're missing some titles up here. So let's do a text box here. And then let's make this one meal plan, and we will use our paragraph style for section header. If you don't have that because you didn't follow that video, you can just center it and choose a font and make it a bigger size. And then I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste this over. If I can grab a hold of it, okay, resize it. And I'm going to call this one January. This one's big enough where we could put the whole thing in there. And I'm actually going to make this my monthly, mini month. And maybe it needs to be a little bit bigger. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger because this is a really big calendar. It's not such a small calendar. Okay. So that's what we have for our first daily. As you can see, like, there's kind of a lot of extra space in here and everything. So, and this is kind of on a large side. You could definitely fit this down to one page. You could probably make these not so wide. I mean, that's 3 inches wide. There's a lot that you could do to change it around. But let's go ahead and move on to our daily 2. So I just hit the plus to create a new one. And let's say parent. And we'll say daily 2. So we can kind of see some more ideas here. Okay, so one thing that I want to do, I want to carry over from here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this meal plan because I want to use this on the next page. So I'm going to select all of that. I'm not going to use the drops. So let's just go ahead and select everything else but that. And we're going to hit Command C or Control C to copy. We are going to come over to our new page and we are going to paste. We don't need to paste in place because I'm not going to keep it there. About in the middle. Since I'm not going to have the drops, we can resize this box so that it's not quite so big. All right. Now, we are going to make a smaller calendar here. What we can do is we can take this calendar. Let's take this one, copy it over to here. And we are going to make it smaller. So let's just make the whole thing smaller. Let's see. All right, we're going to have to make it just a little bit smaller. So we don't need it quite so big anyway. All right, let's move this down. We can resize that too if we need to. And move this over here. So to make it smaller, by the way, what I did was I selected the whole thing. I held Command and Shift, and while I clicked and dragged to the corner to resize. Okay, you need to hold Command and Shift while you're doing that. And it just resized the whole thing. So essentially, I'm going to keep this the same. I did just want to change one little thing. Instead of filling this, let's go ahead and let's say no fill, text is black, or is it 70%? Oh, maybe I have it as black. Okay, let's change that back to black. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little circle instead of filling the whole thing. It's just another option. I am going to hold Shift while I drag a little circle. That works. We're going to make it blue. And we are going to just center it, put it around the little one there. And that's just going to indicate that that day is the 1st. So that is a different version instead of filling the whole thing. And this is something you could do in the dailies, but doesn't really make sense to do in the weeklies. But you could, didn't go over this with the weeklies, but you could circle or highlight the entire week on the calendar that you're in if you wanted to do that as well. It's a little more work for you, but you can do that. That is for a dated planner, of course. All right, so now we're going to make another box over here. Let's go ahead to our rectangle tool. Let's make a box here. All right, let's go ahead and use our object style boxes. And then we're going to just create a text box above it that says today's goal. And then I'm going to use our paragraph style section headers to make that a bit bigger. And that looks good. Now I can go ahead and move this back up a little bit if I want to do that. And then over here, I am going to create a couple little boxes. So create a box about that size we'll start with, and we're going to adjust it so it's fine. I'm going to bring this rounded down a little bit because it's a smaller box. That way it's not quite so harsh. And again, I have PNGs I'm going to steal from another planner. So I have these cute little guys that I got on, I think I got them on Etsy. I didn't draw these. I think I got them on Etsy. But they're super cute. And so I am going to group these. I'm going to copy these. And I'm going to use these over here. I'm going to paste it in and just kind of line it up. If I need to adjust the box, I'm going to adjust the box a little bit. Okay, so we can make this box a little bit, oopsie. We'll make that box a little bit bigger. And then let's just center these guys in there. Okay, I like that. All right, so I'm going to copy and paste this box down. So Option, Shift, Hold, drag down. And I am going to steal these PNGs, which I have for productivity. These PNGs are pretty easy to find. You can find some free ones online that you can download. You can also find them really cheap on Etsy. Just make sure whatever you do has a commercial license so that you can include them in a planner that you're selling. Okay, so I'm gonna, Option, Shift, click and drag to make one more copy. And I want that to be down there. So I might want to move this down a little bit. I like my stuff to be even. We're just going to create Z's. So let's make a text box. Fill it in here. I'm going to do Z's. I think I did 8. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10. For those lucky people that get 10 hours of sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Let's make it bigger. I think we want to make a little more space in there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to tracking, and we are going to make them a little bit wider so that they can be circled. And I don't like this font, so that's fine, but apparently it's too big now. So let me make my box a little bit bigger. Where are they? How big did they get? All right. We need to bring this size down a little bit to fit them in the box. Does that work? All right, that's what we're working with. Oops, should have just left that. Okay, I have these little gaps because I am going to add some headers. So let's go ahead and let's copy this over. We're going to resize the box so that it's the same width. We're going to say today's mood. Right, let's copy and paste this down. So Option, Shift, hold and drag. Let's say productivity. And we're going to say sleep. Now I just want to add one little section on the bottom for notes for the day. So I'm just going to, again, create a box I'm going to basically fill the bottom, but just leave a little space here for a title. I'm going to use our object styles for boxes. Let's go ahead and create a title here to see if we want to make this box a little bit bigger. Notes, and we're going to make it our paragraph style for section headers. Yeah, I think we can make this a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, and now I just want to add some lines in here. So we can create a table, of course. Create a table. Definitely one column. Let's say 6 lines, and then we'll just see what we're working with from there. Okay, so we're going to select the table, and we are going to come to our cell styles and our lines. And let's just see how we actually look at that. That's like perfect. All right, we can go ahead and leave that. If you want to adjust the size to a specific thing, you can select all cells, rows and columns, and we can say 7 millimeters, which looks like it might make it a little bit bigger. Nope, smaller. So I think we're okay leaving it where it was. It was pretty close anyway, so that's fine. So now we have the right side here. Okay, so I am going to copy and paste this guy from over here because, well, there's no point of redoing it because you already saw how to do it. So let's Command C or Control C to copy. Let's come down here and let's Command V or Control V to paste. And we're going to move that over here. And what I want to do is I'm just going to change this. I'm just going to add the AM. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make these the solid lines nice and simple. So I'm going to highlight this all. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to Table Options, Alternating Rows, and I'm just going to change this to None. And it should just go back to, looks like it didn't. So let's go ahead and let's select it again. And I want to, actually, you know what I want to do? I want to apply our cell styles lines. Yes, I like that. But let's get rid of the outside. Let's see how that looks. I'm going to select, with the whole table selected, I'm going to select just our outside lines here, just the box and the outside. And I'm going to say no. And this is what we have. And I actually do like that. All right, let's drop this down a little bit. Okay, we have nothing for that top row, nothing for the bottom. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to do just a big to-do list box here. So let's just make a box that fills in basically all the extra space. Let's come over to boxes, object styles boxes. And then we are going to, this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make this box smaller. I'm going to get rid of these 2 rows, delete rows. Now I'm going to have to adjust a little bit. I'm going to get rid of, should we leave that top one? Yeah, let's go ahead and leave that, but I'm going to move this down. I'm going to move that down a bit. Okay, so let's actually adjust this as well. And I'm going to, because I want to give these a title. So I am going to say, should we say 9:30? I don't need that big of a, all right, let's add a title here and see how much room we have. We are going to say to do's, and then we are going to make this the paragraph section header. And then let's drag this over here and say, we're going to call this schedule. We're just gonna call, I guess caps is still on, but that's not fine. I mean, that's not bad. I like the way that looks with caps. Okay, so let's bring this up here and see. I think we might be able to fit 930 at least. All right, we just have to add that bottom line, 0.5. Okay, that's good. I like that. Could we fit 10? Or maybe we could have fit. Okay, let's go down. I like that. I don't want it too close. This box needs to be resized. I must have accidentally just moved it instead of resizing it. And let's see what we're working with. Okay, that's good. I like the little title. And then in this box, let's add some circles to, actually, you know what? Maybe instead of, see, the reason I like to use the circles is because I have the rounded corners. But we can also use a text box or a checkbox. So in order to insert a checkbox here, create a text box, and then we're going to go up to type and glyphs. And then in here, you're going to find all kinds of different characters and boxes and so on and so forth that you could use. There are a lot. You could be scrolling for a while, but I know, here it is, the text boxes that I like to use is not too far down. So I'm going to actually use this text box. And I'm going to hit enter. There we go. Or double click it. If you want it to be a little bit bigger, what you would do for glyphs is you would just increase the font. That's going to make it bigger. So let's go ahead and add those in because those are a little different and we haven't really used anything like that yet. And I'm going to hold Alt and Shift to make a copy and drag it down. And now we can step and repeat. Let's just step and repeat like 10 times, see where we're at. I mean, that's good. So we have, well, actually, we started with, let's do 10 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then maybe we can just add a little line to separate, to leave this bottom part open. So let's go to our line tool, just start, zoom in so we can see where we're at. This is fine. Start on the line. You're going to click, hold, and drag over. Hold Shift to keep it straight. And then just try to end as close on that line as you can. And then we're going to use our 0.5 point 70% gray so it matches. And that looks good. Good. You can also say priorities down here if you want to and then do circles, but I think this is good. We'll just leave this as is for now. Again, see how you can pick and choose certain things to get it down to one page. Okay, so I am going to show you the doggy theme for the first one. We're not going to change much, just a little bit. Nothing you haven't seen before in previous episodes. So in order to do this, we are going to come over here and we are going to hit the plus sign to create a new one. We are going to rename it to daily. Hit OK. Let's hit W so we can see our lines. Let's come back over here. We are going to copy this whole entire thing. So Command C or Control C to copy, and then come over here, edit, paste in place. All right, we are just going to make very few changes here. Basically, let's just change the colors to go with our doggy theme. We're going to do tan this time since we usually do pink or blue. It's really kind of hard to see the text, the white text there, so you might want to just keep the text black. That's fine too. Yep, that's perfectly fine. We have the tan in there. That's cute. Let's go ahead and let's add a PNG here. And he's so cute. All right, let's select him and the box. Select the box again to make it the key object and then center. And now we are going to just click off and then click back on just this guy and bring the opacity down so that people are still able to use this box. It's still functional. And let's come over here. We're just going to add some little drop shadows. Those happen to be some of my favorites. Before we can add the drop shadows, let's go ahead. Oops. Let's select these boxes and let's fill them with white. Select this box, hold Option, and then we're going to click and drag to make a copy, and we're just going to pull it to the right a little and pull it down a little. And then we are going to right click, arrange, and send to back. Now we can see it's behind there. Let's go ahead, get rid of our stroke and fill it with the tan color. And it's sticking out a bit far, so let's bring it in a bit. What is, okay. And now we want to shift the whole thing over. We're going to have to shift everything over. You know what, let's just do that afterwards. Let's go ahead, click on this back box again, and we're just going to make a copy of that. And we're going to hold Option and Shift to keep it straight to bring it down. That was a little too far. And then just click, hold, and grab this little box to raise this up to make it bigger. And then this one on the bottom is the same size, so we can just hold Shift and Option and bring it all the way down here. Let's zoom in, bring it down a little bit. Okay, that's fine, but we're sticking out a little on the bottom, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab all of this and we're going to move it up so the shadow is at the margin. And then we're going to want to move this up as well. Grab this whole thing. We're going to want to move that up as well so that we keep this a little bit even. And now I want to grab all of this and just shift it over a little bit so that our shadow is not so far into the margin. And that looks good. I think that looks good. All right, that's it. I mean, nothing crazy. Nothing too crazy. If this is too close, if you don't like the way that looks, it's pretty easy to resize this table. Just click and drag it over a little bit. No big deal. It's pretty wide anyway. So that looks a lot better. Okay, that's it. That's how we are going to add our little doggy theme. So again, this is what it looks like in our more basic planner, and this is what it looks like with a little dressing up. It's so subtle, but I think it adds so much. So that's it for today's episode. Again, I hope you learned something new, and hopefully you are able to come up with some good ideas. If you're looking to make some daily pages for your planners, please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you feel like I missed something, and I will do my best. I'll do my best to get back to you, but I do want to remind you that I am currently working on episode 16, which is the one with your requests. So if you have any requests, get that out as soon as possible. Leave me a comment. Otherwise, I might be done creating that video by the time you ask. That doesn't mean I can't answer you in the comments. I'll do my best. So in the next episode, we are going to be creating contacts and passwords pages. This should be a fairly short video because basically the pages are just repeating the same thing over and over again. So, but there's still something, a basic staple to planners, so you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss it. And I will see you in the next one.